Yo, what is up, gamers? It's Sebastian coming to you with a brand new video. And today we will be talking about Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, the new card that comes out in Burst of Destiny. And I know a lot of people are trying to make comparison to it like being similar to Dragoon. I mean, you can sort of see the similarities, like dark attribute, it has it's a fusion monster. Yeah, there's a lot of similarities between these cards, so you can summon it off 30. What other fusion monsters can you summon off 30, right? So anyway, so let's compare Destroy Phoenix Enforcer to Dragoon, because I think Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is a really interesting card, in the sense that if you look at Dragoon, you can identify a list of problems with Dragoon. Like, I'm not saying problems design-wise, I mean problems as in makes it a fucking dogshit card, and this is something I've always said. In the TCG, at least specifically, Dragoon was a bad card, and I was right. I still get comments on my Dragoon was trash video telling me that I'm stupid or whatever, but you know, Dragoon results literally rare. Hello? Anyways, that was a different video, and I was right. But let's take a look at Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, okay? This card, firstly, is a hero monster, and we all know GX era, much more based than dual monsters. Like, no one complains about GX staples, everyone always complains about DM staples. It's clearly the much more favoured era, but shitposting aside, the issues with Dragoon, the very notable issues with Dragoon, comes from stuff like Red-Eyes Fusion is an incredibly restrictive card. If you look at Red-Eyes Fusion, it stops you from being able to summon the turn you use the spell card. And that was a weird way to write that sentence, but you get what I'm saying, right? You can't do your combo and then Red-Eyes Fusion. And if your Red-Eyes Fusion gets interacted with, you can't summon. That's it. No turn for you. And so it's a very restrictive card, which means if you're trying to play in a combo deck and you open it, it's literally a hard garnet. That's it. That's your Dragoon engine dead. You're playing two vanillas in your deck for no reason. With Fusion Destiny, this is the spell card that you use to summon Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. You may notice the spell says, for the rest of this turn, you can't special summon except for Dark Hero monsters. Well, that seems interesting. So you're telling me that if you see Fusion Destiny in your opening hand, you can do your full combo and then slap down Fusion Destiny? That sounds pretty sick, right? Like, already, much better spell. I don't think anyone can argue that. I've not seen anyone argue that. If anyone tries telling me the Red-Eyes Fusion is the better card, then something's wrong with them. But I feel like it's still very notable. It's something that sets Destroy Phoenix Enforcer much above Dragoon, because it's a very big issue of Dragoon was the fact that you were playing essentially a massive garnet, whereas Fusion Destiny, you actually want to open it. You actually want to open Fusion Destiny. It's much better to just slap down Fusion Destiny than it is to go into Ferte, because you're saving materials, obviously. And let's look at the bricks for these engines, right? You look at Red-Eyes Fusion, you have to play Dark Magician, Red-Eyes Black Dragon. There's two shitty fucking vanillas. Like, who the fuck cares? Fucking, who cares? If you look at Fusion Destiny, you have different options, such as Dasher, Celestial, Diamond Dude, you have Dreamer, you have Disc Commander, you have Pickle Jeff Cog, exactly, like literally everything. So having that sort of variety, and it actually does matter, right? Because if you're playing a control deck and you use Fusion Destiny, you can send Celestial, and then next turn you're able to refill your hand. You get to draw 2 cards, and it basically turns your Fusion Destiny into this powerful fusion boss monster plus Pot of Greed, right? And that's pretty good. Or if you play Malicious and Denier, or as Team Sam calls it, Denia. If you play Malicious and Denia, you get to, on the next turn, summon Malicious F, Bish, Bush, Denia, Bush, Bash, use Malicious 10 times, whatever, and you just kill. So in a deck like Sky Striker, they may opt to use Denia and Malicious. And so sort of just having this sort of flexibility in deck building already much more interesting. And now let's look at the actual cards themselves. This is like what people will try to argue, right? I'm in the camp that Destroy Phoenix Enforcer as an actual fusion monster is also just much better than Dragoon. If you look at Red-Eyes Dark Dragoon, the best effect on Dragoon is literally the fact that it's double Focus. Like, the pop effect is the most relevant effect on Dragoon because that's the effect that actually wins games. No one cares about fucking discard 1 to negate, right? Literally, who cares? Like, that's such a... I don't really want to say weak effect, but it's like... The fact that you have to discard is incredibly neg about it. Because if you're playing that control deck, again, let's go to control decks. If you're playing a control deck, you have to choose whether or not you want to keep your traps in hand to discard for Dragoon, or if you want to set your traps. And so it's like, it limits how much you can pick, how much you can commit to the board. If you look at Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, there's no cost to activating its effect, which means if you slap down Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, you can then set all your back row. And then on top of that, because this is still relevant to the engine, Celestial will also draw you 2 cards, which is really broken in a control deck because it gets to refill your hands because they don't really... Control decks don't really plus themselves, they just aim to trade with the opponent. And so having a card that's literally Pot of Greed is really good. But yeah, Dragoon, like, discarding to negate is not that... Like, especially when, like, you're trying to trade, constantly having to discard as well is really not pog. And so Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. Okay, let's look at what Destroy Phoenix Enforcer does. It pops. Boom. Like, literally just destroys everything. It's in the name, right? And I feel like having a quick effect pop, a lot of the time, is actually more relevant than having a negate. It's like kind of... like, I do think a pop is more relevant than having a negate in control decks and in combo decks especially, where, like, if you're ending on several negates, having that pop gives you that versatility. Like, you summon Dragoon, and then your opponent goes, normal summon Thoroughblade, Society run Borbo, right? So, like, Destroy Phoenix Enforcer actually beating Sudiak is pretty scary. Actually, play Dragoon. You should play Dragoon, actually. Ignore me. The Destroy Phoenix Enforcer sucks. But anyways, another argument people... So yeah, basically, as I've established, like, not having to discard to use your effect is really bad. Like, Dragoon will always trade neutrally, right? Whereas Destroy Phoenix Enforcer literally pluses every turn because you destroy... Like, if you destroy Phoenix Enforcer, it will come back. And so every turn you're popping, you're literally going plus. Every turn you use Dragoon to negate, you're going neutral. And so in a control deck where having that sort of card advantage is way more important, it's like definitely relevant. And then let's look at what... Like, if you out Dragoon, that's it. Card's dead. And you might be saying, oh, he has protection. But you actually, like, in testing, you'll come to find that outing Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is actually much harder than it is to out a Dragoon. And that's because Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is so fucking sticky. Like, such a sticky card. Because, like Dark Water Droplets doesn't actually out the card. Like, Dark Water Droplets will out Dragoon. Ball Sword will out Dragoon. Access Code will out Dragoon. By the way, Access Code, Ball Sword are both cards that don't really kill Destroy Phoenix Enforcer because you can pop it. Again, another instance where having a quick effect pop is actually more relevant than having a negate. But also, like, if you Dark Water, if you, like, whatever, like, negate the Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, and then you run over it, it just comes back. Like, it's always applying pressure every turn. Like, you actually end up going incredibly neg to out it if you have to out it by destroying it. Like, obviously you have decks like Tribegate, they can summon Shrek, but, like, if you have other, like, it depends on, like, what your non-engine, like, what your defensive cards are, right? Sometimes your defensive cards can stop them from getting to Shrek, and then it's really applying a lot of pressure because it will just keep coming back and back and back and back. And so actually you end up finding that you have to go so much more neg in order to out Destroy Phoenix Enforcer, or like even like it's just much harder to out. And so like Destroy Phoenix Enforcer literally takes everything that's wrong with Dragoon and says, what if he just made it good? Like, Destroy Phoenix Enforcer is literally Dragoon but a good card. which is why I think Destroy Fitness Enforcer is going to be a very powerful card when we get in the TCG. I don't know if it will be in every deck, because like there are other factors that goes into it, but it's going to be in a lot more decks than Dragoon was, that's for sure. If you look at a deck like, for example, in Burst of Destiny, we're getting Sword Soul. That deck has the Ecclesia. The Ecclesia summons itself back. Either like adds itself to hand or summons itself back if a fusion monster you control is destroyed. It triggers off of your own Destroy Phoenix Enforcer. Just saying. And so we're definitely going to be having decks that will be playing Destroy Phoenix Enforcer like already. I feel like it's going to end up being just an engine in more decks in general. Especially when we get like the Brave token stuff. Like that's going to really exacerbate the engine. And so basically this video is just saying that Dragoon still fucking sucks, but Destroy Fitness Enforcer is an incredibly basic card that I think everyone should try to at least have the engine. Like I'm over here with my here's my common Dasher Keck W, but we do have ultra rare fusion destinies. Right, this card's sick. And that's gonna be it for the video. I'll see you gamers later. Sub to me on Twitch, on YouTube, and like the video. Bye.